Have you ever wondered how a country can go from being the top player in the world to a place that's really struggling? Long ago, this huge country was a global superpower. They invented so many things we use today, like paper and gunpowder. This country was China, once the center of the world's trade and knowledge. But things took a turn, and the big question is why and how did this happen?
That's a great question. To understand, we need to look back at history for a moment. Once upon a time, the story of China was all about success and power. But history shows that changes in the economy and new ideas can change a country's path. Western countries started something called capitalism. We will see how this change affected many countries and led to China's decline, setting the stage for Chapter 2.
In the 1800s, an important change happened. The world started to see the power of machines and science. This time is known as the Western Industrial Revolution. It was a very big moment. New inventions like steam engines and machines for factories changed everything. They made work faster and easier, and life started to change quickly.
Yes, and with all these changes, Western countries started to travel more and wanted to expand their territories. They came to China with new tools and strong weapons. This made it hard for China to defend itself. China had to give up some areas, like Hong Kong, to Western powers. These events were part of a bigger shift in the world's economy, where the Western countries had more control.
The Western Industrial Revolution did not just change work. It changed how countries worked with each other, too. New trains and steamships made travel fast. These inventions helped Western countries become more powerful. They used these new tools to build big cities and modern factories. Countries like the United States and Great Britain began to lead the world in economy and industry.
Yes, and this power was not just about machines and tools. It also changed global trade and connections. Western nations became the hub for new ideas and started to build big empires. For China, this was not good news. It faced big challenges with these new Western powers. China was losing its strength and influence on the global stage. This was just the beginning of many changes for China.
In the 1800s, China started to lose its place of power. While Europe and the United States were growing quickly with new machines and ideas, China was left behind. They didn't join in the same way. The gap in technology and strength became clear when Japan invaded China. This hurt China's economy and confidence even more. It struggled to compete with faster, stronger countries.
Absolutely. And this situation led to a decline in China's global influence. It was once known for its rich culture and inventions, but during this period, many outsiders came into China. These outsiders controlled and took resources, making China even poorer. The country, with its people facing poverty, found it hard to recover. The struggle continued into the mid-20th century as the world around China changed rapidly.
As time passed, a big shift happened after World War II. The Western countries started a new global system. They focused on capitalism, which means businesses were free to grow and make profits. China did not join this system. Instead, it was ruled by one party, and poverty grew worse. The Western world was growing rich, but China was stuck in its problems. This created a bigger gap.
This new world order really changed things. While the West, including countries like Germany, France, and Japan, was rebuilding and thriving, China's place in this system was limited. It was isolated from the economic boom and faced challenges both domestically and internationally. The presence of foreign powers and internal problems made it difficult for China to get back its past glory. Yet, seeds of change were being planted for a future turnaround.
After World War II, the Western world saw a big change. The West started using a new plan called capitalism. This was about free markets and starting new businesses. One man, named Milton Friedman, was very important for this idea. He believed that the main goal of companies is to make money for their owners. This idea was different from what many people thought. It was a new way to think about the economy.
Yes, it's true. The United States and other Western countries saw big success with this. The economy grew really fast. Many people found new jobs, and it felt like everything was getting better. However, if we look at China, things were different at that time. China was not joining this growth party. They were trying different systems, which did not bring the same success as the West. It was like two different worlds.
In the West, capitalism became like a magic trick. It helped rebuild countries after the war. Germany and Japan, for example, saw recovery thanks to these new ideas. Meanwhile, the United States kept growing and came out on top economically. This showed how powerful this economic method could be. On the other hand, China stuck to older ways, which didn't work well in this new age of growth.
For China, the situation was tough. They were not taking part in the capitalist boom. This put them at a disadvantage. As Western countries saw more wealth and growth, China struggled. Capitalism was changing the world, and the Western world was leading. This situation highlighted how different ideas led to different results. And these results set the stage for the next big chapter in China's story.
So, after 150 years of not being the superpower it once was, China found hope. In the 1970s, a new leader named Deng Xiaoping wanted to change things. He saw that China's way was not working. He looked to other countries nearby that were doing well with economic growth. Places like Singapore caught his eye. They were using something like capitalism and growing fast. Deng felt inspired to try something new in China.
Exactly. Deng Xiaoping started thinking about how China could become strong again by changing its economic system. One big step he took was to start with a small area. He began creating places called special economic zones. These zones had different rules that allowed foreign companies to invest and do business freely, like in capitalist countries. A great example was Hong Kong, which was close by and full of bustling businesses.
These special economic zones were like a test. They allowed China to see if mixing socialism with capitalist ideas could work. Deng Xiaoping chose a small town called Shenzhen as one of these zones. This was just across the border from Hong Kong. The idea was to see if China could attract foreign investment and build a strong economy. By focusing on these small areas, he avoided big risks to the country's main system.
Hong Kong was a great example for China because it was already thriving under a capitalist system. In the special economic zones like Shenzhen, businesses and factories began to grow. Deng Xiaoping wanted these zones to help China move forward. It was a careful move to open up the economy without changing China's whole structure at once. This strategy set the stage for China's huge growth and modern economic strategies later on.
What happened in Shenzhen is like a magic trick. It went from a small town to one of the biggest cities. Imagine a village with just a few houses and rice fields suddenly becoming a bustling city with buildings everywhere. This transformation marked a new era for China. Thanks to this change, China's economy began to grow faster than ever before.
Yes, the growth was incredible. Cities like Shenzhen became examples for other places in China. The country's GDP, or the measure of its economy, started to get bigger and stronger. Soon, China wasn't just growing, it was becoming a leader in the world's economy. This change in China had effects not only here in Asia, but around the whole world, and showed how much could change with the right ideas.
With factories opening up everywhere, jobs started to appear. People from all over the country came to these new cities looking for work. The once quiet areas were now full of activity and life. This industrial growth in China helped to pull millions out of poverty. It was no longer just a dream to have a good life, but something real that could be achieved.
Countries around the world began to notice China's success. Businesses wanted to be part of it. Many foreign companies came and invested in China. This not only helped the local economy, but also made China a key player in global trade. The changes were so strong that they caused ripple effects everywhere, influencing both local developments and international economic trends.
In recent years, we have seen a lot of changes in the world. One important change is how money and wealth are shared. This is where the famous elephant graph comes in. This graph shows us who gained more money and who did not. In simple terms, some people did very well, but others did not. The graph shows that rich people got richer, while some regular workers did not see much change.
This is important because it shows us that not everyone benefits from globalization. Globalization helped countries like China to grow fast, but some people, especially in Western countries, did not gain as much. This is why we say there are winners and losers in this system. Many factories moved to other countries to save money on labor. This left some workers without jobs, making life hard for them.
Another big issue is the environment. As countries grow and make more things, they also produce more pollution. China, for example, now produces a lot of carbon dioxide gases, which harm the environment. This kind of pollution is bad for our planet and is one reason why climate change is a big worry. If we don't do something soon, the planet could change in ways that make life difficult for everyone.
This situation shows us the need for change in how we think about business and growth. Instead of only thinking about profits and money, we need to consider the environment and people. People are talking about stakeholder capitalism, where businesses care for everyone involved, not just their owners. This means thinking about workers, the environment, and the wider community too.
Today, we've traveled through China's deep and rich history. We've seen how this country was once a global superpower. Then it faced many challenges and declined. But things have changed again, and China is rising once more. We learned about different systems, like capitalism in business. There is a new idea called stakeholder capitalism. It's about thinking of everyone, not just profits. Keep learning about these important topics.
Thank you all for being with us on this journey through time. We've learned so much, and we hope you did too. Don't forget to like this episode if you enjoyed it. Please leave a comment sharing your thoughts. If you haven't already, subscribe to stay updated with new episodes. Share this podcast with friends who might find it interesting. Stay tuned for our next episode where we explore new fascinating topics. Goodbye.